Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of AI and Oats, which is my daily AI show where I answer some questions and react to some news articles about AI. But firstly, if you're new here, welcome. Who am I? Well, my name is Alistair. This is my YouTube channel where I teach Claude Code and Codex for knowledge work and business use cases. But I also run an AI consulting and training company called Dux, and if you'd be interested and you run or own a business and you'd like to see how AI could be implemented effectively to grow your business, then feel free to get in touch through the link in the description. And I also have a school community where I put my actual Claude Code and Codex skills and go into more details about my systems in there, and the link for that is in the description too. But now that the preliminaries are out of the way, let's jump into the questions. So the way this works is during the day I have a Codex automation that goes and looks at various forums and Reddit threads and news sites and stuff and gets interesting pieces of AI news or interesting AI questions. Then I react to them, but really I attempt to answer them, but usually I just end up going off on a tangent. Right, the first one, Cowork as the brain but Claude Code as the coder. I would say absolutely not. Sorry, no. No Cowork. That's like my somewhat dogmatic opinion is there's no point in using Cowork. I see no point in using Cowork. I've said this before, I've been on this rant before, but Cowork is essentially, there's nothing you can do in Claude Code there's nothing you can do in Cowork that you can't do in Claude Code. And Claude Code is no longer scary like it used to be. Not that it ever really was scary, but I understand why some people wouldn't have felt comfortable running it in the terminal. But now Claude Code in the desktop app is pretty much as accessible as Cowork, and it can do everything. Cowork was literally just built on top of Claude Code, using Claude Code to give a nicer interface to Claude Code with maybe some more guardrails. So now that they've also made a nicer interface for Claude Code in the form of the desktop app, I see no reason whatsoever to use Cowork. At one point you would want to use Cowork if you wanted to schedule tasks. Now they have routines in Claude Code. I see zero reason for Cowork. Maybe I'm missing something, but for me personally, I don't see the point, and I don't really know anyone who is properly serious about AI and using coding agents for knowledge work or for anything who uses Cowork, to be honest. So I'd say not Claude Code just as the coder, Claude Code as everything, in my opinion. Because really, anyway, the quality really comes out. This doesn't even make sense really, because Cowork as the brain is still going to be using the same models as Claude Code, and it's still going to be working on the same filing, so it's still going to be, the quality is still going to be dictated to some extent by the quality of your filing system and whether or not you've chosen the right model and that sort of thing. So folder architecture is still going to be more important anyway, or not necessarily more important, but it's kind of what's going to make the difference. That's my view, at least. What's one AI automation you use daily that genuinely makes things faster? Well, for me personally, it's like making this video, making this board in particular. I think this is a pretty nicely designed slide deck kind of board thing. I find the questions are decent most days, enough to make a little video about them. And this is entirely automated by Claude Code. Sorry, no, it's not entirely automated by Codex. I think Claude Code is going to do it tomorrow though, because for once I've actually almost hit my Codex usage limits. I think it's because I had it running all night, and then I was using it during the day on max fast. I don't know if it was max fast overnight, but it might have been now that I think about it, which is probably not particularly sensible from me. But yeah. And I don't have any usage limit resets left, which I thought I did, which is very annoying. But anyway, one AI automation that I use daily to make things faster is making this board. I guess also editing this video. It makes it faster than if I edited it myself. It's not as fast as making the board, because obviously editing the video is a little bit more complex, even though the editing quality does not seem amazing, I know. But that's sort of the point. But yeah, so those sorts of things save me time. What else do I have? I have automations that just choose important stuff to do and do it. I have an automation that kind of keeps my files up to date and suggests things that have become out of date or new information that should be added to the filing, the files within my kind of business brain, if you will. Does that necessarily make things faster? I don't know. Does it help a little bit? Probably. I kind of think automations, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think the real benefit to working with these coding agents is if you're constantly working encoding agents, using them for knowledge work or whatever, everything you do is amplified in its effect in a way. So it's more like the augmentation and leverage you get from them than necessarily the automation. Like, I feel like most of the productivity gains I get are from the fact that I can have an idea for something and then do it faster and better with Claude Code or Codex. And then the option to be able to automate it is a nice added bonus. But I say, like, the real gains come from the kind of initial augmentation step. And some of those things are going to be one-off, and I won't necessarily automate them. But they still make my work quite a lot faster, because certainly in terms of the actual, like, hours I'm putting in, even if some of it is waiting, the actual kind of human work hours from me, if you then, like, I don't know, amortize is not going to be the exact sort of, like, correct verb in this idea, but the, like, amount of time I spend working then averaged over the, like, number of sessions I have running, because I'm not usually just working in one Claude Code or Codex session, I'm working in multiple. Especially considering that, like, a lot of the time is just waiting for them to finish or doing something else. If you then average that out, I've articulated this equation very badly, but I think the point comes across, which is that, like, the amount of human hours I need to put in has kind of drastically decreased in terms of the outputs I get, which is what saves me time. And it's not necessarily that I then automate them, which saves me time, although that's like the icing on the cake to save the most time. But it's really the sort of augmentation and, like, skills. So I guess if you call skills, if you want to call skills a form of automation, then yes, skills save loads of time. Which skills save me the most time? Like, have one that debriefs meeting transcripts, have one that, like, schedules calls, one that, I mean, like, skills for, like, checking writing to see whether it sounds like AI or not, skills for design, although actually Claude is still in, like, beta testing, but Anthropic just released a new design skill for Claude Code, which is a little bit annoying after I just spent loads of time actually making myself a design skill with which I was happy. But I haven't tried out the new one yet. It's probably good, but I'll see. I guess one thing I was thinking, though, is, like, the part of the reason I like the fact that I have made my own design skill just means that, and I don't think this will necessarily be the case, but, like, at the moment, design by Claude is better than it used to be by far, like, for websites, but it still has a look to it. Like, it still looks very obviously, I won't call it AI slop because I don't think it looks bad, but it looks AI made. Like, there is a nice look, but you can discern that look. And then, so my thinking is, if we get a new design skill, surely if everyone has access to that design skill, it's still going to be, we'll just move into a different phase of, like, homogeneous website design or front-end design. Maybe I'm wrong, because, to be fair, I feel like Claude Design, the limited amount of times I've used it, hasn't given me that sort of homogeneity, and has actually given me quite a lot more variety, adapted to the topic. Like, I had it make a presentation about the Premier League just for fun the other day, and it, like, at first it was a bit boring, but then it made it, like, a very cool, like, retro looking football video game style, and I was like, okay, that was actually quite a cool take in terms of design angle. So maybe if the design skill is sort of just importing, like, whatever, I don't know what they have in Claude Design, but if it's kind of importing that as a skill into Claude Code, then maybe it won't lead to another, like, new generation of kind of AI slop websites that all look similar, even if they look nice. Maybe it will give something actually novel, but I still feel like building your own design skill probably gives you a higher probability of novel designs. That's my thinking. So, maybe it's just me, coping and hoping that the fact that I've just spent time actually making a design skill I like was not wasted. But I'll see. I haven't tried it out, as I say, but I will try it out soon. Speaking of design, how do you get your Claude Code to design good UI? Looking for niche templates. Right. What I did was, to be fair, I made the skill with Codex, but it works for Claude Code as well. I basically had Codex research, like, what are classified as good designs, like, what is a good design. And it found this website. I don't even know what the website was, to be honest, but it found it. that like I guess aggregates examples of nice different types of websites, and it showed me, I don't know, probably like close to 100, and it said like, which of these do you like? And some of them were really, really cool, I'll be honest. And I was like, okay, I like this one, this one, this one. I kind of said I like all of them, and it said, okay, you can't like all of them. Crikey. It said you can't like all of them because then the skill won't work that well. But so I kind of narrowed it down a bit, and what I did is, I think the way the skill works is like in its reference files, one of the files it has is something it calls like families.md, which has a whole bunch of, well, I don't know if they're embedded in, I don't think they're embedded in the markdown file. I think it kind of links to different folders of them or something, of all these designs that I like. So we'll have like, these are editorial designs, these are like e-commerce website designs, these are like, I don't know, funky designs. I don't know if it calls them funky designs, but you know, and the idea is then is kind of like an examples index, because I find that the best thing for design and in terms of generally like, and in terms of general output, is if you have actual examples. That's going to get you much closer than a list of rules. And so what it does is it like uses this families.md to, once it's, well, I suppose it determines the style of content it's trying to design, like the style of UI it's trying to design, like is it, what's the register, what's the content. Then it goes and looks in the families.md and looks in the correct family, and then it has its bank of examples, and then I have it do like a loop. I'm pretty sure this is how I designed it. If not, then this is how I would design it, and how I will go check that it is designed right now and update it to be as such, is that then it does a kind of like, if you take the like concept used in the Gauntlet loop by Matt Schumer, but just on a, like just within one of those individual loops, I then just have it, because I have these examples, kind of do like blind tests side by side, where it's not like another sub agent is looking at it, not knowing which is which, and until it can't really tell the difference, then yeah, well, not exactly that it can't tell the difference, but it thinks that they're basically equal quality, then you get better design. Because I was annoyed, like all my websites kind of looked the same, and I tried to make it like a brand design.md, which worked, it did adhere to that, but it was quite a boring design style. So what I wanted was the like variability to pick an appropriate way to design something based on the content and the task. Codex versus Cursor usage limits. I'll be honest, I don't use Cursor anymore. I used to use Cursor. So the first agentic coding harness I tried out was Cursor, and then I got really into Claude Code. I still think Cursor is good, and I think like Grokbot, which is kind of, you know, made by Cursor, I've really enjoyed it. I don't think I have my Cursor subscription anymore though, so I can't comment too much on Cursor right now. But Codex usually has very good usage limits. It's slightly ironic that I'm saying that, as I have pretty much hit my usage limit for the first time in months in Codex. But like generally I feel like Codex is really good bang for your buck usage limits. Turns out if you run it on max and fast all day, then it's not as generous. But yeah, usage limits are, I guess, the most annoying thing in AI right now. But I don't know, I guess it's because the plan is so heavily subsidized in terms of the tokens, like you get, I don't know, like 50 times the monetary value of what you actually pay. So they can't let you have that, you know, infinitely. Hopefully we'll reach a point where compute is so abundant that tokens will be super cheap and you can just use it, or where local models are good enough that you will just be able to run local models and everything. I mean, local models probably are good enough already, but I don't have the compute to be running huge local models personally. Right, I think that will wrap it up for today. Slightly shorter episode today, but hopefully there were a couple useful things. If you enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe, and just to mention it again, if you'd like me to help you build out your own AI operating system in Claude Code or Codex, feel free to check out the link in the description. Equally, if you own or run a business and you're interested in implementing AI, link in the description too, if you're interested. And finally, if you're interested in the school community, link in the description for that as well. So, yep, sorry to self-promote, but you know, gotta do what I gotta do. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, the fact that I've hit my Codex usage limits means Gonna have to get Claude Code to make the board, so we'll see how that turns out, but should be decent. See you tomorrow, everyone. Goodbye.